Good morning, everyone. I hope I'm audible. Please respond to the chat box if you all can hear me. Good morning. Shraddha, verbal ability session could not happen the last Friday, right? So it is rescheduled. We'll be having a verbal ability session tomorrow, right? This Friday, because of the Olympiad, the session got postponed and it will be happening on Monday now, right? You must have received the email for the same. Right. So once again, a very, very warm good morning to everybody present in the session. This is your mentor Shivani Sharma from mentorbuddy.com. Okay, so Shraddha, you will be receiving that, not a worry, right? Otherwise, you can visit Center of Excellence website and re-register yourself for the webinar, right? You can register yourself again for the coming up webinar on Monday, or you can write on support@mentorbuddy, right? I'll be sharing the email IDs at the end of the session, so you can write about your concern on the MentorBuddy support mail, right? You will be receiving the the resolution to your queries. All right, thank you so much for confirming. So let us quickly start the class without wasting any time. Let me just share my screen, and today's session is going to be one of the most important sessions for each one of you, isn't it? Today we are going to talk about the art of resume writing, right? I'm very sure that all of us are very curious and anxious to learn about this art, right? Because resume is like a visiting card for us, right? So a resume is like the it speaks about your personality. It is the first interaction that you have with your potential employer, right? Our success or failure ratio, the ticket whether we are going to get an entry to the interview process or not, everything is dependent on our resume. It's like a reflection, it's like a miniature you, right, that you are trying to present on the paper. So it definitely needs to talk about all your basic skills, whatever good you have, whatever points you think that you are your USPs, and you would like to sell it in the market, right? Because you are reflecting that what your capabilities are, and what contribution, what efforts can you bring into the organization, right? So let us talk about the art of resume writing, and let us also learn the skill set which is required for us to be an efficient writer, so that we can get an entry to the next round of selection process, that is interview. What is the purpose of a resume, right? It is very clear, and these slides are prepared just to make us all come on the same platform in terms of understanding that why are we having this session, or why are we organizing this session, right? So the resume's main purpose is to get you an interview, isn't it? Is there any other purpose that we have in mind whenever we are preparing a resume? We are sending across that resume so that the the employer should get to know about our abilities, and should give us an opportunity to to meet them in person, so that we can talk about and explore the job and the candidate fit, right? So what we are looking for, or what is the objective of preparing an effective resume, is to get you an interview call. It is often the first item a potential employer sees about you, and therefore it is very important, right? The potential employer means somebody who can hire you, right? The very first interaction that potential employer is having with you is through this resume, right? So it is the first step. If somebody is going to ask you that what is a resume is a short descriptive account of your work, experience, education, qualifications, achievements, and special skills, right? So you are in short describing about your entire your personality, where you are talking about how much experience you have, what sort of experience you have, what is that you have done in terms of education, what are your achievements, what are your special skills that differentiates you from others, right? Isn't it? So our resume is a reflection of all those things. Clear? In addition, a resume may be requested by a scholarship committee or be part of your admission application for graduate or professional school, right? So, anybody can ask for your resume. Suppose you want to get a scholarship or you're looking for, some graduation or post-graduation program. So there also you are required to submit your resume, right? So this is basically the purpose of writing a resume. The resume can be used in the following ways. First of all, and most importantly, to be taken to a job interview, to network with others, including at career fairs. You must have seen that nowadays a lot of private institutions and government bodies, they do organize job fairs. Right. So in these job fairs, you are required to submit your resume because that acts as a screening criteria for a lot of organizations. And on the basis of that resume, they are going to decide whether they'll be calling you for the interview or not. Right. So a resume is also used as a screening criteria for a lot of organizations now, to be submitted along with an employer job application form or cover letter as you apply for open positions, right? So there is also a cover letter which we prepare when we want to submit our resume. We'll be talking about the cover letter in the next class, right? Because we have 2 sessions devoted on resume writing. In this session, we will be talking about the different points, headings, and subheadings which we are going to write in our resume. And for the next class, we'll be doing cover letters. So meanwhile, you'll get 1 week opportunity wherein you can just prepare your resume, you can practice, you can think about the objectives and other things, right? So that we can have a good, meaningful discussion in the next class. A resume is coupled with a dynamic online presence, particularly your LinkedIn profile. So students, there is a little bit change in the way the resume are presented right now to the organizations. One being inclusion of your LinkedIn profile, right? So try to make your LinkedIn profile very rich. We have been suggesting you from the start of these classes that once you receive a certificate, please do upload that certificate on your LinkedIn profile, right? Because that makes your profile quite enriched. Whatever you are doing, whatever the certifications you are achieving, whatever contributions you are making, no matter whether it is big or small, in terms of your academics, in terms of your professional, please do update that on your LinkedIn profile, right? Be an active member in the community, in the business community, in the professional network, and do mention the link to your LinkedIn profile in your resume, because employers love to go through your resume, your profile on LinkedIn, because they get to know more about you, right? What sort of person you're, because it's not possible to write about each and everything in the resume, right? But how you have been posting things, how your response has been in the past to different posts, what is your line of thinking, right? So all these things can be determined by looking at your posts on LinkedIn, right? So you can also, share, don't share your FB profile, of course, but LinkedIn profile is required because LinkedIn is a professional and a business network. Now there are basically, three standard resume format. One is reverse chronological, second is functional, and third is combination, right? The reason why I have highlighted reverse chronological format is because it is going to be relevant for all of you who are freshers. Functional resume is written for people who are having good enough years of experience, like me. Like if I have to write my resume, it will be a functional resume and not only a reverse chronological one, right? In functional resume, the experienced people, they talk about the different profiles that they have handled, what were their job responsibilities, what were they doing, and all those things. right? In reverse chronological resume, we are going to talk about what we are doing currently as in terms of education or job, and whatever jobs or education we have done earlier or we have completed earlier, that we are going to write about in reverse chronological order. So we will be studying the format of reverse chronological order in today's class. And third, as the name itself suggests, is a combination resume, in which it's a combination of the reverse chronological and functional formats. Am I clear? Am I clear on these three formats? Any questions so far? Students, please do let me know if there is any question so that we can go ahead. If you don't have any questions, send me number 2. Send me number 2 if you don't have any questions. And if you have any question, feel free to send it through the question box. All right. Yes, Aniket, it's free to make a LinkedIn account. Shraddha, I was talking about that chronological resume format is the one that we are going to discuss right now. Functional resume is prepared for people who have good enough years of work experience so that they can write about their job responsibilities and all, right? And the combination resume is basically reverse chronological and functional both together. Right? Reverse chronological means whatever you are doing presently will come at the top or will come at first, and then you are going to talk about what you have done earlier. For example, you people are doing BTech or BE, so you will be mentioning that currently pursuing my bachelor's in information technology from ABC Institute, right? Then you will mention completed class 12th in the year this with this board with this percentage or division. Then you will mention completed class 10th with this board and this percentage, right? So this is called as reverse chronological order. Am I clear on this now? Am I clear, Tanmay? All right, Shraddha, is it clear? Fine. Tanmay, reverse chronological order is clear, beta? All right, great. Let's move on to the next slide. Now, let's talk about the reverse chronological resume, right? So as you people were quite, anxious to learn more about the same. So basically your reverse chronological resume starts with your current experiences and then it goes back in time chronologically, right? So first you will talk about 2021, then you will talk about 2020, then 2019, then 2018, and then 2017, right? So we will be going like this, and this is called as reverse chronological resume. Now, the reason most employers, can anyone just tell me why do you think that most employers prefer this resume format? Why do you think that the employers want you to present your qualification, work experience in the reverse chronological order? Can anyone just think about it? Why do you think that employers prefer reverse chronological order resume? Come on, waiting for your answers, right? To show the experience or Hmm, okay, achievement, okay. It shows your experience and help them what were you doing from the start, because it is order as we grow to know about us. Wonderful, right? So let me just club all the points together. The employers are more interested in knowing that what are you doing presently, right? They are not much bothered about what you were doing 5 years back. Rather, they are more interested in knowing what is the current education qualification that you've completed, what is the current work profile that you have, what are your skills and abilities at the present time, at the moment, right? So that is why they prefer to have a look at the resume, which is in reverse chronological order, right? So employers are more bothered about your percentage in your BTech rather than your percentage in class 10th, right? So that is why, reverse chronological format resume is preferred by the employers. Am I clear on this? Right? All right. Now, let me just show you a sample resume which is prepared in the reverse chronological order. Have a look at this. Right? Now, here, if you look at it, suppose that, the current experience, right? So let's consider it's January 2021 to present. Right. So in the terms of professional experience, how you are going to write will be your current work experience. If I am going to submit my resume, first of all, I'll talk about that what am I doing presently. Then I will be discussing what I have done last year. Then prior to that, like this, right? So as you can see, the first of all, in the sample, you can see the person is talking about what he's doing presently. Then what has he done earlier prior to 2008, then March 2006 to May 2008. So this is how we prepare the reverse chronological order resume. I hope now it is clear to everybody. Is there anyone sitting in the class who is still not clear about what is reverse chronological resume? Send me number 2 if you all are clear with the format now. Send me number 2, students. Come on quickly. If the reverse chronological order format is clear to everybody now, I'll be discussing more about the resume sections. Come on, quickly, quickly, quickly. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for responding. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I'm sure that all of you are sitting with a pen and paper and just noting down the important points that we are discussing, because this is one of the most important section of soft skills that we are having today. Right? Okay, wonderful. You can also take the screenshot. I prefer to make a note of the important points with a pen and paper, because when you are writing something, it goes down in your memory as compared to taking a screenshot and keeping it for future references, right? Now, broadly speaking, there are 9 sections whenever we prepare our resume. This can vary also, right? There is no watertight compartment or hard and fast rule, or like Brahma Vakya, that you have to write only these 9 sections in a resume. You can increase or decrease the number of sections as per your need, right? Now, before I proceed further, I just want to tell you to an important aspect out here. There are 2 ways in which you can prepare your resume. One is that you can prepare a general resume and you can just send it across to all the different organizations where you think that you have the prospective or you have the probability of getting a job. That is one. Secondly, you can prepare a tailor-made or customized resume depending upon the requirement of the job or depending upon the requirement of the organization. So you are going to frame the objective of your resume according to the job for which you are applying, right? And you are going to mention about those skill set, as is required in order for successful completion of that particular job role. Clear? So nowadays, what companies are looking for is a tailor-made or a customized resume and not a general format. With you have prepared a resume and you are sending it to n number of organizations for n number of roles. Clear? So a resume has all these 9 sections. Now I'll be taking up each and every section one by one to have a better understanding of this. So first you are going to write about your personal information, right? Then you will be writing about the objective. Now what we mean by this objective is your professional objective, right? What is the mission or the vision that you have in mind in terms of your professional career or in terms of the time to come. Summary of qualifications. Here we mean by education and professional qualification, education, work experience, skills, awards and activities, volunteer experience, if any, right? Not everybody is having a volunteer experience, but nowadays in our colleges we do a lot of activities, extracurricular activities, right? So you can always include those points in whatever activities you have participated, or you were a part of some club, or some groups in the college or a school. Do mention about these things, because organizations want that people who are joining their organization are basically good at everything. They are multitaskers, right? They are not only confined to their 10 to 5 job role. Rather, they should always take active interest in the other aspects of the work culture as well, right? Whether you talk about organizing any event in in your organization, or getting along with other people in terms of different task groups, work groups, or any such kind of thing, right? And then finally, references if asked for. Do not offer references on your own until and unless the organization has asked for the same. Right, now let's talk about each one section. Any questions so far? Yes, Anirudh, and that is what I have shared earlier also, that you should include your LinkedIn profile link in resume, because nowadays we all are sending across our resume in digital format, right? It is prepared on MS Word, and then we send it across. So please, if you are sending it through soft copies, do mention your LinkedIn profile. You can also prepare a video profile, a video resume, and also share the link of that video resume as well, because just because of the concept or the inception of virtual organizations, the employers would like to have a look at your digital presence also, right? How comfortable you are in terms of recording your introduction and all. Yes, Aniket, you can include, or you can talk about the projects that you have done, but remember, it should not be, an overselling kind of a thing. You should not, there's a very subtle difference between introducing your project and, boasting your project, right? So it needs to be an introduction in terms of deliverables, and not a boasting of what you have done. Clear? I hope that I have made myself clear on this. You should not sound like, somebody who has done everything without any support and all, but talk about the deliverables that you have done. Clear? Because organizations do not want people who are boasting of themselves, because tomorrow you'll say this for the organization also. I haven't got any support and blah, 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 and this is what I have done on my own and all these things. So that is not acceptable, right? HR is not going to like that. Now let's talk about the personal information. So of course, the way you write your name, it should stand out. I say stand out, but that does not mean that you are going to write in bold, in red color, and you're going to increase your font size to 34, 36 to make your name stand out. That is not required. You can simply, don't include a lot of colors while preparing a professional resume. That is not required. You're not going to show there your editing skills, right? Make it very simple, precise. You can just make your name in bold letters. That's sufficient, right? Then you can talk about, and one more thing. Now, as you see in the second point, this written can vary the placement of name, address, phone number, and email address. Now, here the placement does not mean getting you into an organization, but the placement of the, where you are going to put your name. Whether it's going to be in the middle of the page, or the left hand side, or the right hand side, your address, your phone number, your email address, everything. There's no hard and fast rule. It just depends on the format that you're going to use, and you can make it on left or right or center. That's perfectly fine, right? So include your name. These days we don't write about the address much, but if you think that you should, then please go ahead and do that. Write your phone number, your email address, and of course your LinkedIn profile link, right? List only one phone number and which you are keeping, right? And please do share a professional email address. I think we have talked about this in earlier classes also, that your email address should be a formal professional email ID. If you don't have that, please do create a professional email ID with your name, right, which is easy to remember and good to present. Professional sounding voice message, right? We don't make use of voice message, right? But here you can as I was telling you about the video resume, I'll be covering the concept of video resume in one of the slides. So you can also prepare your video resume, send it as and save it on cloud, and you can share the link of that video resume here so that people can have a look at it, right? And now suppose you are trying for an international organization, so it's better that you mention the citizenship there as well. If you are applying for an international job, so you are required to submit your the citizenship. Do mention about that, and do mention the country code before your mobile number. That is highly required. The second point, or the second thing that we are going to cover up in the resume, is the objective of writing a resume, right? You must have seen that after the name and the personal information, the next thing that we do write is objective or career objective. Okay, now before I'll tell you about objective or career objective, may I ask you one silly question? What is the spelling of career? Because I have come across a lot of applications where students have misspelled the word career. Okay, I want everybody to share the spelling of career with me, because I don't want all the students sitting in my class to make a blunder there. Come on, quickly. Yes, Tanmay, Shantanu, that's right. Okay, I was expecting. There's still a lot of people who are misspelling it. Okay, but I'm glad that, oh my God. Aniket, beta, I'm not asking about career. I'm asking about career objective. Beta, the spelling of career is CAREER. And please, for God's sake, don't write carrier, CARRIER. Carrier is you can have any other meaning of the word carrier, but not career, right? Carrier is something which is there at the, at the back of the bicycle where you put your bags on. Yes. Cycle is having a carrier. If you think you are a cycle, please go ahead and write carrier. CARRIER. Carrier is somebody who carries things from one place to another. Right? Career. The spelling of career is CAREER. Please don't misspell. It's career. CAREER. Right? So now let's learn about career objective. Short and sweet is preferred if you are using your resume to apply for a specific position. And that stands true also, students, because if you're going to write a 4 or 5 lines career objective and you yourself are not clear about it, you're going to go for a 6. Because the first thing that employer is going to have a look at is your career objective. I've seen a lot of students copying career objective from internet and pasting it in the resume where they are not even sure about the meaning of the words that they have written in it. Nobody is looking forward to have a Shakespeare with them where you are going to write about all the flowery words and jargons and you yourself are not clear about the same. So do not make it very lengthy and complicated, rather make it simple, precise, so that if the employer is going to cross question you anything related with the career objective, what you have written, you're able to answer that, right? For example, seeking position as accountant, one for Kaiser Permanente, right? So Kaiser Permanente is the name of the organization, and the person has simply, written what is the objective. If you are taking your resume to a career fair or uploading it to a website, then the career objective needs to be a general one. How you are going to write that? Seeking full-time accounting position with a leading organization where I can utilize my skills and abilities and, help the organization in further growth. Right? This is just a, a very, very general and a vague kind of an example. But this is how you can write. Okay. Now, if you're going to Google how to write career objectives or some examples of career objective, Google is going to provide you with lakhs and lakhs of career objective examples, but do not blindly copy and paste. Take the help, take the advice from Google, but do not blindly follow what Google is going to show to you, right? Rather, match it with the job requirement, match it with your skill set, and match it with the kind of communication skills that you have. I hope I'm clear on this. Any questions from career objective? Yes, students, any questions so far? Send me number 2 if you don't have any questions so that we can move on to the third part of our resume writing. Send me number 2 if you are clear with this. Come on, quickly. Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing. So I hope that by the end of the session today, everybody would be in a position to prepare a wonderful resume, isn't it? I'm glad. You'll probably not be needing any assistance in preparing a resume now, isn't it? Right. So now let's talk about the third aspect or the third point that we are going to include in our resume writing. That is the summary of qualification, right? You can also call it as academic highlights or academic qualification. You can also call it as a profile, right? And as I said, there are two ways of writing. One is that you prepare a very, very general format. And the other one is that you are preparing a customized resume or a customized, CV. So once you're preparing a customized resume, you are going to write the qualifications matching with the job descriptions. Clear? Have a look at the example which is provided here on the right hand side. It says blends academic training and social work with 3 years experience working with diverse clientele, adept at interviewing, report writing and problem solving, professional, collaborative and committed. Right. So, you can say, you can also mention it as skill set. You can also mention it as traits. You can also mention it as extracurricular, qualifications, whatever you want to, right? You can, or you can write it as profile highlights. Because here we are talking about our skill set. So I would rather love to put it as skill set, right? Or professional skills. And here you can write about in a, in a statement format like this, or you can just mention about all the good adjectives, but be prepared with a cross question that the employer might ask, that how can you say that you are a collaborative and a committed professional? Or how can you say that you are good at problem solving? How can you say that you're an honest and diligent worker? Right, so how you're going to answer those questions? You can share certain examples from your school or college life where you were a part of a team which has done really well in times of adversities or has won many medals or something like that. So you can also include, qualifications like this. Now, fourth and important aspect is education. Right, so in education, you are again going to talk about in reverse chronological order, the most recent degree or current study, you are going to list it first. Suppose you are pursuing, right? So you will be mentioning pursuing bachelor's in technology from this institute, and then in the bracket, you can mention the academic year, right? That what is the expected date of graduation or completion of your degree. If you want, you can mention about the certifications, the minors as well. Whatever major and minor specialization you are doing, you can mention about it in your education. right? I'm sure that all of us are aware about this. Then you're going to talk about the work experience or the work history. It is also going to be in the reverse chronological order, where you are going to mention about the most recent job experience first, right? Then another very important fact is not all jobs needs to be listed. Any experience which is less than 6 months as it is not counted, right? And if you think that the work that you were involved in and the kind of experience that you have got, if you don't have experience letter or any document to substantiate that, please do not include it, right? First of all, you are going to list the job title. You will include the name of the employer and the city, and then in the bullets you can mention about the the job duties that you have taken care of. Each descriptive phrase should begin with an action verb. For example, if you're going to talk about the current job, you will be using present tense. If you're going to talk about the previous jobs, you'll be using past tense, right? When you are describing about your job role and the activities that you have undertaken being a part of that profile, please do not include a lot of points out there. Just talk about the main aspects, because nobody is interested in again going through the entire detail. You can just talk about the bullet points. Bullet points always means the points that are going to strike to the employer, right? Prioritize the order in which you describe job duties with the most relevant ones listed first. So it's going to be like from very specific to general, right? So it's going to be an inverted funnel shape approach that we will be using when we are going to talk about our work experience. First we'll talk about the specific things that we were doing, and from there on we can move on to the general things. Divide your work experience into related experience and other experience if appropriate. Students, whatever points I'm discussing in the class today, you're not going to blindly just copy it and include it in your resume. Rather, you can customize it depending upon your own needs, right? Do not, as you all are freshers, so do not forget to include, or list the internships, whatever is related to your field. It doesn't matter if you got paid for it or not, because as a fresher, what organizations are looking for, that how much experience you have, right? They are not concerned or they are not bothered about whether you got paid for that or not. Rather, they are bothered about what is the skill set that you have acquired, being a part of that profile. Clear? So that is what we mean by work experience and work history. Then we are going to talk about the soft skills, the technical skills, and the language skills that you have, right? For example, in soft skills, you can write proactive approach, teamwork experience, analytical thinking. Again, be ready with any kind of cross question and think about any, real life example that you can quote uh, to support your skill set. Please do talk about the technical skills that you have acquired. And if you are a multilingual person, do not forget to mention that, right? That how many languages you know. Then do talk about the awards and activities that you have participated, and what are the, in terms of awards and certificates, whatever you have earned. I'm sure that you all are a part of a lot, in your colleges, you are a part of a lot of other groups which are doing activities other than academics. So please do mention about the memberships of the campus, the community organization. Suppose you are a part of any social service group or NGO, or you're doing anything for the, for the good sake of the society, please do mention that. Suppose you're not doing any such thing, please make yourself involved in that, right? Because that is highly required, and not only for the sake of getting a job, but students, I would also like to tell you all that this gives you the extreme happiness and satisfaction which no other thing in life can give you, right? If you're able to bring a smile on anyone's face, that is, the job well done. And that means that that day of your life you have utilized that day. It's like serving God, right? Make special note if you held an office or you were an office bearer or you had some leadership position in your school or college. Dates are not required. Nobody is interested much that how long you have served as the prefect or the editorial club head, whatever, right? Dates are not required, but you should definitely write the responsibility that you have held it for a period of time. Don't forget to list national associations if you have any. If listing a scholarship, indicate its name and who awarded it to you. That is also important. And don't forget employee of the month. Suppose you have got, the best student or the best employee or any such sort of a recognition. Do not forget to mention that. Okay. If you have volunteered, right, please do mention that as well. Volunteer experience can be listed if it is meaningful and appropriate, like you have done some volunteer work for social work, psychology, sociology, right? Any such thing you can also mention that as a volunteer experience. If you think it is directly related with your career goals and objectives, you can mention that as your experience as well. Remember, it does not matter whether it was a paid work or an unpaid work, but what matters is that how much experience you got from that. And for references, as I told you, if it is asked, do mention. If it is not asked, then you can always mention references available upon request. Suppose you are mentioning somebody's name as in references, you should first take prior permission. You should always tell them that I've included your name in references and I'm applying for different jobs like this, so that if there's any cross-checking or if the employer gives a call to the reference, he or she is having some idea about, that why you have mentioned their name. Do not mention anybody's name without taking their permission, right? And professionally, you should always give a copy of your resume to the person whose name you are including in your references, right? So that the person is having good enough idea. Never list your references name on the resume. Instead, only if requested, provide a list that includes reference name, job title, place of employment, phone number, and email address. Do all these things only when asked for, otherwise do not do this. If the employer, the potential employer, is asking for references, then you are going to first write their name, then the designation, the name of the organization, their email address, and the phone number, right, with prior permission of the person whose name you are going to include, right? So students, we have covered all the 9 sections that might be a part of your sample resume format. Please do remember that there is no one specific way to format your resume. You have many choices, right? But all these things we are sharing on the basis of generally what employers prefer and what is the most acceptable kind of a format, right? If you'll just Google it, you will find a lot of sample resumes available. You can, whatever resume format you think suits you or you like, that you can include that format. But do not just copy paste. Please do apply your wisdom before you just zero down on any particular format, whether it is relevant for you or not, right? Templates that you will find on Google for different resume format, generally you will find that it is not possible to customize it until unless you are very adept in your technological skills or technical skills. Otherwise, try to create your own template on Microsoft Word and create your own unique document, right? One thing more that I would like to make you all understand and realize is that do not ask somebody else to make your resume, because I've seen a lot of people doing a lot of mistakes in it. If you are going to prepare it, it's your resume and it's a matter of getting a job or getting disqualified, right? So you are going to put in your heart and soul. You are aware of what you are writing in your resume. Somebody else is doing that. He's just or she's just copying and pasting it from somewhere or the other, is not very much bothered, right? So please avoid taking somebody's help or asking somebody to prepare your resume. Instead, try to make use, try to prepare your own resume, right? Now, just as a brush up of what we have done today, let's quickly have a look at certain do's and don'ts of resume writing. I'm sure that we have understood the context so far. We have understood how we are going to write about a resume, what are the important points and everything. Now, let's quickly summarize, or if we forgot to discuss about anything, let's just quickly have a recap on the do's and don'ts. Right. So I hope the points that this video has made in terms of, a quick recap for all the points that we are going to keep in our mind as do's and don'ts is clear to everybody. Right. Now let's have a quick quiz on the same. Ready? Right. Now tell me one thing. Should we make use of jargons when writing our resume? Yes or no? Jargons should be used in writing a resume. Yes or no? Jargon should be used in writing a resume. Quickly. Okay, good. Should we make use of our, or should we paste or include our photograph while, sharing our resume? One for yes and two for no. Should we share our resume, our photograph? One for yes, two for no, and three for if asked. One for yes, two for no, three for if asked. Okay, good. Should we use a tailor-made resume or a general resume? A customized resume or a general resume? What should we use? A customized resume or a general resume? Okay, good. I am still not sure why people are writing general. What is the use of sending a general resume? See, if you are aware of the organization and the job profile for which you are applying, it should be a tailor-made or a customized resume. A general resume will get a general treatment only, right? So try to make it customized depending upon the needs of the organization and the needs of the job for which you are applying. Am I clear on this? Right? Right? Do not make your resume very lengthy, right? Make it, a fresher should ideally make a resume between 1 to 2 pages and not more than that, right? And each resume will also have a declaration, date, place, and your signature. Right. My next question. Should we include the references in the resume? Yes, students. No, Jivita, it is not compulsory. If it is asked for, then you should make use of your photograph in the resume. And if it is asked for, that means it's going to be a professional photograph and not a Facebook profile photo, right? Until unless you are applying for an acting or a modeling career, it has to be a professional passport size pic, right? And of course, not the pic that you use in Aadhaar. Do not click a picture from your Aadhaar card and include it in your resume. Similarly, do not use your Facebook profile pic also. Right. So references, when are we going to provide references in our resume? Very good. If asked for, we are going to provide the professional references. Otherwise, we can always write references available on request. Right? Yes, Akanksha, very good and very well explained. If you are going to mention somebody's name in references, that you are going to take prior permission and the person should have the idea and the knowledge that you are including his or her name. So very good. I hope that all of you are clear with the points and the concepts that I was trying to make. Just right, and we are very clear with now. Just the last thing that is left out is video resume, right? As I said that I'll be sharing it as well, but before that, let's have a quick look at the formatting tips, because that is also very, very important. Whenever you are preparing a resume, you are going to make use of same font and same size throughout document except your name, right? You can increase the font size of your name, you can keep it in bolds, but otherwise the entire resume has to be in the same font size and format. Do not play with it, right? Use bold to emphasize only the most important features of your resume. Ideally, the font size should be 10 or 11 or maximum 12, not more than that. Otherwise, it will not look pleasing to eyes. Be consistent with tabs, dates, and other formatting features, right? Keep the same distancing, keep the same format, throughout the resume. Otherwise, it will look very clumsy. Length is only important if you are handling the hard copy of the resume, in which case it should be 1 or 2 full pages, as I've shared. Decide on an overall design scheme, whether you are going to write in bullets or paragraphs. And once decided, you are going to follow it in the same manner, right? Whether you are going to mention it in bullets or in paragraphs. Make the resume professional looking, and the person who's having a look at the resume should feel like reading the entire thing, right? It should be presented in such a manner. Now let's have a quick summary of the most important points. Remember that the main purpose of the resume is to get an interview. So what are you going to include in your resume is your personal information, the objective, that is the career objective, education, work experience. Never ever include any false information in your resume. Be consistent with your format, right? There should be absolutely no mistake in terms of grammar or typology. Tailor your resume to the particular job for which you are applying, and always make use of a cover letter to sell yourself and add value to your resume. We will be taking up covering letter or cover letter in the next class, right? These are the reference sources from where I have made this presentation. Now, as promised, now let me just show you a sample video resume. You will find a lot of organizations asking about the same. Let's have a look at how to prepare a video resume. This is one of the working professionals having an experience of few years. You'll find a lot of video resume or sample formats available on YouTube as well, right? For the class, let's have a look at this.
Technology has changed the way we communicate and also the way we do business. So why should job hunting be limited to the conventional way of filling out online forms and sending out countless emails? The reason I've created this video profile is to reach out to my network and see if you or anyone that you know may be scouting for suitable talent to join their growing team. My name is Hitesh, and I've been involved in the world of sales and business development for close to 14 years now, with 4 different companies spread across Canada and Dubai. Throughout the course of my career, I've been involved in B2B sales of various products and services like consumer goods, chemicals, and mostly real estate, including residential, commercial, industrial, and most recently, retail real estate. To further fulfill my professional goals, I'm looking for a challenging role with a fast growing, high energy company in areas of sales and marketing, new business development, client relations, and sales management. All aimed, of course, at increasing profitability for the employer that I work with, enhancing the customer experience for its clients, and creating greater financial success for myself. Having worked for a small company of less than 20 people, all the way up to a corporate setup of 600 staff or more, I understand the demands associated with any kind of business setup and feel that I'm adaptable to just about any kind of team environment. In my personal life, I find myself actively involved in all kinds of sports and outdoor adventures, which is where I believe I get my highly competitive spirit and ongoing motivation from. In today's dynamic and challenging work environment, it has become even more important that you select a candidate who can quickly adapt to change and solve every problem with a creative and solution-driven approach. You can reach out to me on the contact information displayed in this video or through my LinkedIn profile. I look forward to connecting, and thank you for listening.
Right. So this was one of the example of preparing a video resume. And as you must have heard and you must have seen that the background was also very, very professional. The person was professionally dressed up, and he has precisely talked about and very crisp and brief in his presentation. He has talked about his work experience and what he is looking forward for. What are his main, skills and abilities that he wants to focus on, right? So this was one of the example of preparing a video resume that you all can make use of, right? So this brings us to the end of the class. I hope that the class was useful for all of us today, and you have got a good enough idea about how to prepare your resume, what is video resume, how you can include that, right? So if you have any queries or suggestions, grievances, feedback, please do write to me on feedback.mentorbuddy@gmail.com. If you have any technical issues or regarding your certificates, regarding your next class booking or anything, you can write on support@mentorbuddy.com. This is the email ID where you can connect with the backend team. Whatever the certificates that you are receiving, you can upload it on LinkedIn and tag us on Quantum Learnings. Then the next two mentioned are our websites. You can register yourself for the upcoming sessions through these two websites. Right. So I hope that everybody found this session useful. Please ask if you have any questions. Thank you so much. It was really, really nice interacting with you all. And I think this is one of the most interactive sessions that we have had so far. Thank you so much, students. Do take care of yourself. We are meeting tomorrow for verbal ability, and we'll be meeting with the next session of resume writing coming Sunday, right? So thank you so much. Take care. God bless. If you have any questions, you can ask through the chat box. Akanksha, you can write about the certificate thing to support@mentorbuddy.com. Any other questions? Shraddha, you will, I think it's at 8 p.m. tomorrow, right? The same time, but it's just because of the Olympiad that the day has been shifted. And this week onwards, we'll be resuming back to Friday and Sunday sessions only, right? Okay, thank you so much, everybody. Bye-bye and take care. See you all tomorrow for verbal ability session. Thank you.